Hey, this is Matt with Warrior Combat Academy, okay? And today, what we're gonna show you is gonna be a little bit more in-depth version of a previous video we made about your stance, okay? So in the previous video, we talked about going shoulder width apart, shoulder width back, slightly angling our lead foot and keeping our heel off the ground with our hands up and our elbows in, okay? So we all know this is the correct stance to be in, right? Well, that's true, but every fighter is going to have slight variances in their stance, okay? And the reason for that is the way that you structure your body, it gives you different options for offense and for defense, okay? So for example, if I take a much more boxing-oriented stance, okay? I'm a lot more bladed, my heels are on line, okay? Versus being more boxed out. I'm very on line, I'll use this line right back here, okay? My heels are on the same line, all right? I'm very bladed, my lead hand is out in front, my shoulders are tucked, and my hands are protecting me, okay? This is very good for boxing because with me being bladed, any punches that come in are more likely to glance off versus stick inside here, okay? It also makes it a lot easier for me to travel straight forward and straight backwards to cover and close distance, okay? But some of the issues with this are the fact that my lead leg is so turned makes me super susceptible to low kicks. Like if I had Bailey here, okay? If I'm in a very bladed stance and Bailey throws a low kick, I'm exposing a very vulnerable piece of my leg to be kicked here, okay? If I'm more boxed, when Bailey goes to throw my leg kick, it's a short movement for me to check versus if I'm bladed, I have to try to turn, pick my leg up, and get my shin in front, okay? So it's a subtle difference, but it makes a world of change, okay? And you'll notice this, if you watch boxers versus kickboxers, boxers versus MMA fighters, they're very, when kicks are allowed, they're very bladed, and because of that, they'll usually take repeated leg kicks because it's hard to defend there. It's good for defending punches, not so much for defending kicks, okay? Now, the reason that we give this stance here for basic MMA is because having more square hips, A, allows you to deal with kicks better, okay? It also allows you to do things like sprawl, okay? It allows you to defend takedowns. It allows me to get in on takedowns better. It allows me to shoot, okay? Because in a wrestling stance, all right, you're very square, okay? You could have one foot in front, that's fine, but your hips are almost always square to your target because this allows you to draw power for driving, okay? So now obviously we wouldn't want to go into an actual fight in a wrestling stance the same way we probably wouldn't want to go into an actual fight in a boxing stance, okay? So the MMA stance we give is kind of bridging the gap between all of these other highly individualized martial arts and trying to give you the most options possible, okay? So in our MMA stance, okay, we can defend punches pretty well, we can defend kicks pretty well, and we can defend takedowns pretty well, okay? It's a jack of all trades, master of none. But what you'll find is your stance might end up being something different, okay? You might adapt some Taekwondo with your hands down and your body completely bladed versus slightly, okay? This is very good for things like linear kicks, hook kicks, snap kicks, things like that, but terrible against low kicks and also terrible against defending takedowns, okay? But what you need to find out is you need to find out what your style is, and once you know what your style is, if you're more of a boxer, if you're more of a wrestler, if you are somebody who mixes things up well, okay? Structure your stance to aid in that. If you're good, nothing is wrong if it works, okay? If you can stand in a Taekwondo stance and you can kick the heck out of people, all right, and it's working, that's fine. Recognize the weaknesses that this stance has, but keep on using your strengths, okay? And you might do things in between. You might blade, but you might not leave your hands down. You might keep your hands up, okay? You might be in a more MMA stance, but with your hands down, because this is gonna help you, just like in our wrestling stance, defend takedowns with your hands down, okay? Nothing is wrong if it works, all right? So experiment, find out what your style is, and start critiquing your stance to help your style be more effective. Thank you.